Gorgeous.
Oh, thank you so much. Like, not everything hasn't fallen apart just yet. No.
That's okay. You know what? I'll take a picture and then I'll.
Okay.
You know what?
Fascinated by all
We're just gonna do. Oh, is this?
This is amazing.
Is this new for you?
This is, yeah, it's sort of, like, what is that cover?
That is from Cowboy Bebop. That's Spike Spiegel.
Mine's advanced potion making.
Oh, you're a nerd. You're a nerd.
Total nerd. My iPhone 5. I had to get like a Canadian kind of phone. My iPhone 5 is a Quidditch. It's like a that old school.
So
like,
really, for you, this is all about playing with a futuristic time turner. Is what you're saying?
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah, that's. I'll just like use that term, and they'll be like, "You're not at Hogwarts."
You're like, I don't know.
Like, you don't know that. So,
right?
Yeah.
You don't know where I am.
Harry Potter references are always okay.
They're always acceptable.
Yes.
Thank you. What are you guys doing?
We're good. You're at San Diego Comic-Con and you're geeking out. What are you geeking out about?
Well, I haven't quite had time to go down to the floor. I think that's coming up this afternoon. I think that's where we're going next. I'm really, really excited to just kind of see everything.
It's insane.
It's insane. And people are so creative. And I don't know, I kind of love it.
Yeah, I can already imagine you getting like paused at all the booths.
Well, there's a part. There's a Harry Potter part where you can play with a wand. With a wand. You can. They do a video of you. And they send it to you. No, it's Fantastic Beasts. No, the WB booth.
So that's the first WB booth.
WB booth for you.
You know people. You know people.
Warner Brothers.
Take you there.
Yeah. My friend took me to the Universal. Technically it's Diagon Alley-ish. It's Hogsmeade, but they put stores from Diagon. It's pretty confusing. I'm sorry. I
love that you know that. I love that you know the difference.
Oh yeah. I'm like, wait a second. You can't have Ollivanders and the three broomsticks. You just can't. It's not right.
See, I already know that you're going to love this show just because this is already fascinating to you. So.
I love it. No, I do love it.
We were all so emotional watching. I don't know. I was about to cry.
When did you guys see it?
On preview night on Wednesday.
Wednesday. Oh my God.
There were tears and
We were the first people to see it too. There were tears and chills throughout the whole room.
I think I got chills at you saying that. That's really amazing.
No, I lost my dad not so long ago, and I was in tears. And then the baseball connection. I want to know how it felt for you. Like, were you emotional playing it?
I was emotional playing it. I think what's interesting about this show, at least for me, is the emotion hits me at not necessarily at the predictable times. I will actually find myself like thinking about a scene when I'm cooking dinner, and I just sort of like try to process it and let it sink in as to like where it's going. And I find myself just kind of getting a bit caught up in going, where did that come from? Why am I emotional? And it's, we use things like our relationships and people, loved ones that we've had and lost. And it's really hard to pin down what that emotion is, and I think it's really brave that they just go for it on the show, and it's really vulnerable, it's really raw, and I think for me and Riley too, we're just kind of going, okay, this is what it looks like, and this is what's happening, and just kind of rip off the Band-Aid and go. So I think there's a lot of it that appealed to me, but I think it's great that you see behind the curtain with these characters.
It sounds like you have a lot of support to do that too.
We do, and I think there's a lot of trust too. I think between a lot of the actors with each other and with the producers, like knowing that they've got a plan and knowing that it's okay to jump. So yeah.
The character Frank helped you through the impact, the personal impact, how her life has changed. So we only saw like a little bit of that.
Well, it's funny. It's like I always assume before I really step back and think about it that Frank is the dad. Frank should always be the one who's supportive. He should always be the one taking care of Raimy. But he's 28, as we know him. He doesn't have an adult child. He's still, he's still growing up. He's still figuring out who he is and what he stands for. And I think it's interesting how they relate to one another. And it's not always roses and daisies. Like, they sometimes go at each other. They sometimes fight. They sometimes don't know how to be together. They don't know how to interact with each other. And I think that's really real, because you don't always handle things. In hindsight, you're like, yeah, I could have handled that way better. But in reality, it's hard to cope sometimes. We're dealing with, blowing up a life, like just everything's, gone. And I think it'll be interesting to see how Frank steps up as a parent and how he handles it.
There's a lot of time traveling shows that's going to be coming on in the next season. What do you think makes your show stand out?
What's funny is Frequency was the only time travel show I read during pilot season, and that's your exposure, because sort of with you guys, I haven't seen the shows until they premiere them here, or once they finally air. So I haven't seen them. I have friends working on them and talking about it, but I'm not totally 100% like, I don't know them very, very well. The premise with this, it's the sort of time travel, but we're not physically traveling. It's the consciousness. It's not getting into a machine or walking to a plane, or it's the frequency. It's the waves. And I wish I knew more science and I could explain it better, but I don't. So I think that makes it different, is that you're not physically going to another time. As much as I would love to do that, I think that would be amazing. We don't really explore that. We just sort of explore the butterfly effect of things taking a different trajectory, a different path. And I think people, I don't think there's anyone who hasn't stopped and thought about that. Stopped and went, what if I took that trip? What if I took that job? What if I did this? Where would my life be? Who would still be in my life? Who would I have met? Or who would I lose? And I think that's provocative. I think it makes people think about it. It's scary, but it's kind of like you can't help but wonder. So I think we'll get to do that.
Last question, guys. I guess I'll go. So as an actress, these alternate realities, how do you pick that? Like playing the same character, but in
I think that's what's fun in the pilot, is you get to figure that out. Like as an actor, as the producers do, is coming together and being like, okay, so what happens? Like how does it work? And how do you have your memories of both? So you can remember both timelines. The memories hit you, and all of a sudden you're remembering the memory, even though you didn't live it or maybe walk through it yourself. And I think there's going to be a lot of keeping track of this. But what I do think is amazing about Jeremy is he makes it incredibly comprehensive. And on the surface that you can follow it. What's cool is that I find that I get the story and I'm like, oh, I loved it. And then I read it again and go, oh. And it's like you peel back a layer and you're just like, did you really plan all of this? That's amazing. So I think it sort of has a level of comprehension